We're fortunate to have Patrick Murphy, professor at Notre Dame, with us today. And Pat, I know that you have an incredible track record with your marketing ethics books and incredible publications in the field of marketing and focusing on marketing ethics. And we're so glad that you could visit the University of New Mexico. Everyone's talking about sustainability, and it's really a hot topic, especially when we look at social responsibility. So, how long have you been interested in sustainability and green marketing issues?
Well, the comical answer I give to my students is before my hair was this color, or my hair was a different color. But seriously, the first Earth Day in 1970, I guess I'll admit how old I am, I was a college senior, and that had a big impact on me. And I did my master's thesis on recycling newsprint, of actually taking the ink off of newsprint and reusing the newsprint. And there was a plant in the Chicago area that was doing that in the early 70s. Then I wrote my doctoral dissertation at the University of Houston, and I wouldn't remember this without going over it, an investigation of the effect of ecological information and social class on importance, rating, rank ordering, and brand choice, where I examined people's views towards ecological information, and we found that some information was better than more information, and it's the topic of information overload, if you will. So some information made people more responsive, and we weren't calling it sustainability at that time. It was ecological issues in marketing, but same topic, and here we are many years later discussing it again.
Sometimes, Pat, when we talk about sustainability, uh, some people kind of equate it to ethics. So, how does ethics relate to sustainability?
I think ethics relates in a number of areas. We could talk about the classical ethical theories, but in an article I did a few years ago, I tried to bring in some new ethical concepts. The first being the precautionary principle, basically saying if you don't know what the outcome or the impact is going to be, maybe you should take greater precautions. And the Europeans are much further ahead of the Americans in implementing the precautionary principle because of their population density. But I think we're seeing more of it in the United States now. Second theory is the notion of balance, and our teaching of business ethics, we talk about the ethic of the mean, and this is the idea that we have to balance the environmental issues with the social issues, with the economic issues, and of course we call that the triple bottom line. But I think the companies are paying more attention to this notion of balance, and there are measurements out there like the Global Reporting Initiative that try to help companies achieve this balance. A third one is the power responsibility equilibrium, where it says that more powerful companies have more social and economic as well as environmental responsibility. And we can see that in large corporations who are out in the forefront, and I'll talk about a couple examples a little bit later. The environment as a stakeholder, one of the notions is the environment itself a stakeholder? And most people would say future generations are a way to look at it. And one of my favorite companies from the UK is called the Cooperative Bank, lists 7 stakeholders, and their description is the international society that includes the natural world and the 7 billion people who inhabit it. So I think that's a good way of saying the environment is an important stakeholder. The last theory that I use is called planetary ethics, and this is not otherworldly ethics, if you will, but we need to be concerned about everyone and everything on the planet, both in nature as well as the population, and underprivileged as well as more affluent populations.
Pat, are there some good examples of some companies that are on the forefront of sustainability practices in marketing?
The 2 examples I'm going to use, maybe before I talk about them, in my paper I discussed the company Interface, which is a carpet manufacturer, and their former CEO Ray Anderson is all over YouTube if anybody wants to hear about his philosophies. But it's an amazing story. But the 2 companies that I wanted to highlight today are 2 companies that have had their share of criticisms over the years, but are really on the forefront regarding environmental sustainability. The first is Walmart, as a matter of fact. They have their supplier sustainability assessment that asks their suppliers a series of questions. They haven't made this mandatory yet, but there are 4 areas they're looking at: energy and climate, material efficiency, nature and resources, and people and community. And they have 15 questions that they want these companies to their suppliers to answer. And I think we'll see this coming downstream very quickly in Walmart. And we all know Walmart, being the most powerful member of the channel, will probably institute this for their suppliers. The suppliers will have to follow suit. The next one is Nike, and Nike certainly has had their share of criticism on their labor practices, but they have what they call their considered design, which is a new concept of trying to improve the materials making the shoes, less toxic materials like resins and glue and things of that nature. And their website has a very extensive area that they are looking at. And their particular topic areas that are trying to solve are waste, solvents, materials, garment treatments, and innovation. And they hope eventually, and this is not public yet, but they hope to rate each of the products that they sell according to what we would not be surprised Nike using the Olympic standards. So they will have gold products, silver products, and bronze products. I don't know if they don't qualify for a medal, whether Nike will drop them from their product line or not. But I think there are 2 companies that are at the forefront today.
Thank you for your time today, your very insightful and thoughtful responses, and we certainly hope that you'll come back and visit us again.